And we are live. So I'm running a little late this morning, but last night, I guess around 11 o'clock, I was just on the verge of falling asleep. And all of a sudden, have you ever been in that position where you're just about to nod off, and then all of a sudden something happens? I don't know what, but suddenly you're just wide awake, and you're like, "Fuck! Well, this isn't going to happen. That sucks." So I made the mistake. I don't know if it is a mistake, but what I ended up doing was reaching for my iPad. And the next thing you know, I'm scrolling through the streaming services and I'm looking for something. And I find Paramount Plus, and I get into this docu-series. This has nothing to do with the topic of the stream, but this is just what happened to me. Called this docu-series called "The Ghosts of Beirut," which was about the hunt for the Hezbollah terrorist who bombed the Marine barracks in the 80s, bombed the American embassy in Beirut in the 80s, kidnapped and tortured to death the CIA station chief, and how it took like 20 plus years to find him during the second Iraq war. And it's just super dark. It's way darker than, any of these things that we cover in horror. And, I've said long ago that I've reached this magic point in life where I think the things that happen in real life or the things that everyday people do to each other are far darker than anything you might see in most, I'd say 90% in 9 out of 10 horror films. So it's fantastic. It's on Paramount Plus through Showtime. The Ghosts of Beirut, go check it out. Okay, so the reason I'm here aside from that is I want to talk about the new Alien film. Apparently there's a new Alien film, and if you know me, you know that I am a fan, very much a fan of Alien. We're talking about, the quadrilogy. Well, here's the thing. The first Alien film is one of my all-time favorite films, period. The second Alien film, it's just as good, if not better. But for some reason, the first movie is my favorite. By the time we get to the third movie, I feel that things have kind of fallen off because, as I've said before, by the time you get to part 3 of almost anything, usually part 2 of almost anything, there's a decline in quality. But the second movie, of course, directed by James Cameron. Third one was by Fincher. But again, it wasn't quite as good. And then by the time we got to the fourth movie, was it Roland Emmerich and Resurrection? It had kind of become a parody of itself. Hold on a second. We got some comments here. We got Eric from Hey Internet Eric here. What's happening, man? I'm all for this Alvarez Alien movie, man. Yeah, so am I. And we're going to get to that in a second. Now, we had Ridley Scott attempt to create something that was going to be a new trilogy, and he started out with Prometheus. I very much love Prometheus. It's beautiful to watch, but the story clearly fell apart. I admire what he was trying to do, almost a creationist kind of trilogy. My understanding was that the WB, or I can't remember if it's Fox, the Fox people, of course, in producer-driven universe, demanded that he insert some sort of alien into the movie, which kind of ruined it. It wasn't the greatest. It felt clunky and edited it poorly. I'd loved one day to see a special edition of that. Ridley Scott director cuts tend to be really something. So I'd love to see that. And then we got to Alien Covenant, and I can't remember who directed Alien Covenant. I've seen it twice. It's bad. Oh, it's Ridley Scott. I'm sorry. It's Ridley Scott again. It's not a good film. It's completely unnecessary. At this point, if you wanted to do something original for me, just like the Predator films, I'd say, give me an alien movie where the alien fucking wins. They always get blown out into space. It's this repetitive theme. The same with the Predators. And now, with that Prey movie, going back hundreds of years, no Predator has ever been able to, win on Earth. But there was never a third movie with Ridley Scott, but then we get into the Alien versus Predator movies, and I want absolutely nothing to do with those, because if you know me, then you don't have to ask why I want nothing to do with them. But I would largely say if you wanted to leave Alien alone, I'd be fine with it. Wouldn't break my heart. Yeah, it's hold on a second. Eric's here and he says the only one I haven't seen is Covenant. I've sadly heard, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. You could live your whole life with that. I mean, it has a couple of moments. It has a couple of moments, but it's the usual thing. There's a female lead in the alien. If you wanted to create an alien movie, make a male lead. How about that? Do something. Subvert my expectations. Give me a male lead in an alien movie. But that's never what we get. It's usually the same old formula, and the alien blows out into space, and tra la la. One of the interesting things about Prometheus and Covenant was the introduction of Michael Fassbender. Fassbender playing David the synthetic. My understanding was that at the end of the third movie, and I don't know if Ridley Scott's going to get to a third movie with this because there wasn't much love for the first two. David is going to meet Ash because these movies, Prometheus and Covenant, are prequels. And so it would end with David meeting Ash, leading to the original Scott movie from '79. But I'm finding out that there's going to be another one. And it's easy enough to roll your eyes, and have your corneas detach and so on and so forth. But this movie is directed by Fede Alvarez. And Fede Alvarez is the director of the Evil Dead fucking remake. And the Evil Dead remake is just one of the greatest remakes ever. And if you've seen it from 2013, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Fede Alvarez proved that the Evil Dead did not need to be a horror comedy. It could just survive as a grounded, gory, fucking deadite film with tons of blood and pain and suffering. And I usually don't go with those sorts of things. But here, he made the Evil Dead work. He's also done those. He really pushes the envelope with the grossness and the gore and the cringe. It does grab you. When I saw that movie, Don't Breathe, with Stephen Lang, which, goes way off on a tangent. And, I'll never look at a turkey baster the same way again. But apparently he's going to be directing a new Alien movie, and it's set to launch in August of 2024. That's what I'm here to talk about. That's way too long of a lead-in, but yeah, there we go. Let's take a look at some of the information. We get this from, let's see, Game Rant. So this is from 2 days ago. New Alien sequel gets a big update as part of Disney's recent changes. The Alien sequel, directed by Fede Alvarez, is coming soon, as announced by Disney, amid its recent date schedule reshuffling. And this is written by Christy Bowen 2 days ago. Disney Alien, that's oxymoronic, but yeah, here we are. Alien franchise fans finally have a projected release date for the new installment directed by Fede Alvarez. The as-yet under-released title is the 8th installment in the popular sci-fi horror franchise, which began with Ridley Scott's epic 79 hit Alien, where humans faced off against the deadly xenomorphs in deep dark space and are picked off one by one. The concepts, plot lines, and characters have continued throughout numerous sequels and prequels, games, web series, and other media over the past 4 decades, including the critically acclaimed sequel Aliens in '86 and a popular crossover offshoot Alien versus Predator, not popular with me though, which places the xenomorphs at odds with another group of horrific creatures spawned in the 80s horror world. The first 2 Alien films are undoubtedly considered high canon in the extraterrestrial terror genre and a favorite among sci-fi and horror fans. Disney announced Alvarez's film will be released on August 16th, 2024. So you're looking at about 14 months. In fact, yeah, today is June 16th, 2023, so exactly 14 months. This places the movie at the end of summer blockbuster season, but before the slew of spooky season offerings usually doled out in September. Starring Kaylee Spaney, I don't know who that is, Isabella Merced, David Johnson, Archie Renault, Spike Fern, and Aileen Wu, Alvarez's Alien is described as, quote, an original standalone feature. No problem so far. independent of the storyline of the two most recent prequels, Prometheus and Covenant. Alvarez, who co-wrote the film with Evil Dead's Rodo Sayugas, is best known for his 2013 Evil Dead remake and
Lowe's knows you want the best gifts for Dad. That's why we're offering the items he loves for under.
Damn thing. And 2022's Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel. I never saw that. I'm not necessarily a Chainsaw Massacre fan. The idea of actually attacking someone with a chainsaw is just a little too much for me. But it's Fede Alvarez, so maybe I'll get to it. This means there will likely be lots of scares and plenty of gore, with the franchise already quite respected for it. But a franchise that's also a bit in decline. I don't think we've had a really good Alien film since 1986. So that's 14 and 23. That's 37 years since we've had an A-list Alien film. While original sci-fi final girl, I hate that term, final girl, Sigourney Weaver has reportedly retired from her Xenomorph fighting days. A new infusion of talent and storylines promises good things for the revered franchise. I hope this isn't going to be like Prey, where, you know, people just, oh, it's so great. And yeah, it's not. 20th Century has not announced the Alien sequel's title, but the latest installment comes amid renewed interest in the franchise. This has been compounded by an upcoming, Alien television series by Noah Hawley, eventually due for FX and Hulu, which brings new attention to the classic film. The announcement is also great news. Okay, so this is what I was looking for. The announcement is also great news during an era where many films and series are experiencing significant delays due to the WGA strike as writers battle for compensation and rights. Here's the thing. Are we going to be getting, is it in post-production? Is it in pre-production? Because if it's not completed, I mean like completed, there's going to be significant delays. I'm trying to. I don't think it's ready to go. In which case, we don't have any chance of getting it in that particular period of time. Hold on a second. I'm looking here. Chainsaw Massacre director upcoming. Here we go. Upcoming Alien Romulus. Okay, so I'm looking at IMDb. Let me see if I can connect us here and show what's going on. And according to IMDb, the movie is called Alien Romulus, and it is in production. Okay, so Alien Romulus. There are no photos except for the one here, which I've used for the thumbnail. So 2024 Alien Romulus. It says the plot is under wraps. So my thinking is that this is going to be a film that is going to be delayed by quite a bit. This is going to be delayed by quite a bit because we don't have any writers right now. They're not as union members, unless they're filming it overseas, which is, a workaround. That's the way that it says it's in production. So that's if it's a UK base or they're doing it overseas, then they're not part of the Hollywood writers' strike. That's one workaround and one way that they could get around it. But if they're not, then I'm thinking, major delays. We're also looking at probably within the next week or two. I was just talking about this yesterday. There's probably going to be an actor's strike. So this could be a bit of a mess, but you heard it here first. The new movie is called Alien Romulus, and it looks like, in a perfect world, it'll be released in August, but I don't necessarily see that happening. Eric says the strike is definitely going to delay it big time. My biggest question is, where in the timeline will it be? Definitely no Ripley. Let me look at that article again from who the actors are. if it's just another starring Kaylee Spaney. Okay, so I guess they're listing the lead actress as another female lead. So hopefully it's not formulaic. It's Fede Alvarez, so I have some faith, but I guess we'll see. I've got one more article, and then I'm going to bring it to a close. Just keep this short. From Collider. And Collider says Fede Alvarez's Alien movie sets release date since 2017's Covenant. Let's see. Following the disappointing critical and commercial reception of Alien Covenant, the Disney's Fox acquisition, fans of the series. Okay, yeah. August 16th release date. Okay, the film hasn't been officially titled. However, it did show up in production listing posted by as Alien Romulus, though this could just be a working title. While details regarding the plot in the film are sparse, a synopsis from the film via 20th Century Studios read, in this ninth entry in the immensely popular and enduring film series, a group of young people on a distant world find themselves in a confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. And then, it lists the cast and says that Sigourney Weaver's not getting into it. The film will also be the first following the series of misfires from Ridley Scott, Fede Alvarez, with fans concerned with the direction Scott's prequel were taking in the series, many criticizing how they stripped the titular alien of its mystery and lumbered with it an unnecessary origin story. The new film is said to have no connection to those films, returning to the franchise's horror roots with Alvarez at the helm, the director responsible for titles such as 2013's terrifying Evil Dead. Okay, so I disagree with that. I liked what Ridley Scott was doing, but most horror fans just want I've said this a million times. Most horror fans just want to see the same old shit over and over and over again. It doesn't matter if it's part 4 or part 6 or part 12. If it's not the same thing, they have a problem with it. So that's too bad. Let's see what else we've got. Anything here? Work is underway in the Alien TV series. The series will be led by Noah Hawley and will star Sydney Chandler. So again, another female lead. The project does not currently have a release date. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. That's what we know. Working title right now is Alien Romulus. Female lead, August 16th, 2024. Probably going to be big time delayed by the writer's strike and the potential actor strike, but that's what we know. I'm sure there's going to be more coming up. If it's only in production right now, then that basically means it's kind of ground to a halt. If it was post-production, that would even be a bit of a problem because that would mean no offshoots or anything like that. Hold on, I'm going to check one more thing and see if we can get a check from the numbers on Alien Romulus for the budget. Romulus. Alien Romulus. Okay, here we go. So there's no financial information right now on that. Maybe in the next video, I'll see if I can bring it to you. But that's what we know for now. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see what we get. Hold on, we got one last comment. I remember really enjoying Prometheus. Even my wife did, and she's not into that type of sci-fi. Yeah, it was much more. It was grounded and calm. It really wasn't, a shitstorm. I like it. I thought it was visually gorgeous to watch. But this is the horror community, so you've got to. Down to the lowest possible, whatever. Okay, so that's my video. As soon as something comes out again on this, I'll be covering this. I'll be covering the Alien. I'll be covering Rebel Moon. All the fun stuff that's coming out soon. And I will be back tonight at 8 p.m. For my coverage, spoiler-free, of the Netflix film that drops today. I'm talking about Chris Hemsworth, directed by Sam Hargrave. and Extraction Part 2. I covered Extraction 1 last night, and it's the second time I've seen it. It's only the second time I've seen it. The first time I saw it was 2020 when it dropped. I had forgotten how much absolute fun that movie is. It's fantastic. I have every confidence, and I've heard good things about Part 2, so I'll be back tonight with a spoiler-free review of that. I've got to go screen the movie in a little while. I am the American Werewolf, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.